Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast, Select Ministers. This podcast is sponsored by Testosterone Builder. Gentlemen, are you struggling in the body, sex, or mental game? Need to keep pace with multiple women? There is an answer for you. X Labs presents a proven line of products to help in those areas. Our X-Wolf Testosterone Booster aids in intense workouts in the gym and in the bedroom. Increased blood flow and a heightened libido are just a few of the many benefits. X-Wolf contains all natural ingredients that have been used in Eastern medicine for centuries. All products come with a 30-day free trial and free standard shipping. Click the link below in the description box to find out more. Quantities are limited. Make a select choice, unleash your inner wolf, and lead the pack today. Yeah, you know what? I wanted to address the ministers. You know, it's interesting. I saw first time I really paid attention rather to the power that ministers in different communities have, not just over their congregation, but particularly over their women. First time I paid attention. Well, it was a couple times, right? It was a couple times. One was when I first started selling my book, Nice Guys and Players. I was at a expo in the D.C. area. It was a black expo. Had my stuff and learned a lot. I've mentioned that before because my booth was set up near 4 crews of male exotic dancers, and it was crowded over there. Yeah, I keep emphasizing that body game for a reason. These dudes were just over there just selling calendars, and women were lined up, and I was just getting some sales off of it. I was like, man, they were cool with me. I ain't gonna lie, I was pimping them a little bit too. Because, you know, one crew was starting to get more women, and that was pulling people away from my table. I was like, I told one of the dudes, man, they got their shirts off. Y'all gotta get y'all shirts off. They were like, oh yeah, I. And they started, shoot. And the women came back over, and some of them were buying my books. But it was interesting. At that same event, it was about 5 men who bought my books. 5 men who initially bought my books. Ironically, it was a lot of women who were buying it too, but we'll talk about that on another podcast. So these men, though, were ministers. They were part of some program, because I actually recognized one of them, and that's what brought the rest over. These were ministers. These dudes, only difference really between how they looked and how these male exotic dancers selling stuff looked. The only difference was the ministers just had on suits. Their body builds were the same and everything. See, understand something. When you see a lot of these ministers and they building up big congregations, it's because women see them as select. See, one thing that's not talked about, and just how some of these preachers, these ministers be like not only building up large congregations, but be controlling large amounts of women, be going through the congregation like it's nothing. They be having not only the first lady, but they tearing up half the congregation. And one thing, there are some seminaries. I ain't gonna call them out. But they will actually teach the ministers. They will say, look, if you want to build up a large congregation, you need to be handsome. You need to look a certain way. That draws the women. And if you look at like church congregations, and this is especially in the black community, but you got the same thing in other communities as well. You know, you look at those large mega churches, it's often hard to tell the difference between like a minister and just a regular player. It's very hard to tell the difference. And one of the things is the preachers, the ministers, one of the things they actually tapping into a deeper aspect of the game. They actually tapping into, they know how to effectively tap into a woman's emotions. And then, of course, they have the bait. When you see those ministers, they hitting the gym, they looking good, they looking all fly. They all in shape. And then they got that mouthpiece when they talking. You know, next thing you know, that woman needs some counseling. That woman needs some counseling, so she'll show up to that thing. She'll show up. All of a sudden, the minister is doing her well. In fact, you've got some, and they'll throw it at the ministers, but it was one very prominent minister. I ain't gonna call his name out on here because let's just say there was some other issues at his church. But he actually said when he did counseling, he would make sure he have a woman in the room, his wife or something in the room, because he wasn't trying to go there. And so far, he's a very well-known televangelist. And there's never been anything said about him at least. No one's come out with something. Yeah, I can't say the same for his son. And those are the only clues I'll give. But understand something. What the minister is actually doing, they tapping into something deeper. They tapping into more the metaphysics side of not just getting sex, but also building up their power. If you look at a lot of these mega churches, is women dominated. And these dudes are just rolling it like the pimp. In fact, pimps understand that with some ministers. In fact, it's not a surprise when you've had some prominent pimps who actually become ministers. It's just the same thing, just how they doing it, you know. Whereas the pimp going to make his money like having a woman sell some pussy. The minister going to make his money by just having a woman just give him the money. She can work whatever, however she get is up to her, but she's going to give it. She's going to run around and do stuff. And especially if you understand, especially if any seminary students are on here, I could tell them. Yeah, I could share that with with the audience. Share it in a comment. You know, you get these guys and they hit that rap. They hit that rap and they talk in a certain way, certain cadence, how they carry themselves, how they move themselves that affects the women emotionally. Now understand, let me get into the deepness of it. It's a deep core. First of all, the minister up there looking good. You know, he in shape. You know, he got that fly haircut. You know, he got that fly haircut, body build. You know, looking great to the woman. So she already attracted to that. That's already opening her womb up. You know, she's getting those tingles right there. So she going there getting the tingles. And then he's saying he's hitting her with something else. He's hitting her with whatever he's talking about. You hear some of those sermons. That's why some of those guys, they can have a woman going crazy. In fact, in some churches, what some people mistakenly think is the Holy Ghost. And this ain't no disrespect for anybody follow it, but allows women be the same way they having getting that Holy Ghost, the women be getting all still. Any man who's like experienced watching a woman having an orgasm, they'll say, well, damn, that's the same exact thing. And actually, and this might be a conversation on my Deep Thought channel, spirituality and the energy of spirituality and sexuality are actually two sides of the same coin. You know, that's why a lot of times you get those that's why you can get some of those groups, and not just in a Christian church or something like that, but you get some religious leaders and they'll have women just lined up. They'll have women lined up because it's the same feeling. The ecstasy they feel spiritually is the same thing sexually, especially in women. Some men might be able to feel that, but especially in women. So you get a lot of those ministers are select. Now, you know what I started this week talking about select men is a myth that they don't make money. Shoot, a lot of ministers, that's how they doing it. In fact, I've had some ministers talk to me. They'll say, shoot. And they could be they might not even have a mega church. Like I remember this one, he didn't even have a mega church. He was just getting started, really. And he was telling me about all the women in his congregation trying to give him some. But one thing about him, because like I said, worked with him a bit, he was in great shape. He was in great physical shape. In fact, he used to be in the Nation of Islam. So he had that still Fruit of Islam vibe and build, how he wore his clothes and everything. But then, and then he knew how to preach. Boom. So they definitely making money. See, one of the things that, you might know is a theme I'm talking about all this money piece, because it's too much of a thing of people trying to say, oh, these guys ain't doing shit. But if you look at the real select men, they in positions of power. Especially ministers. I mean, you can't mess with that. You can't mess with that. That's just the real deal. So anyway, I just want to throw that out there. One thing, one of the things, just as an aside, I'm really going to be attacking some myths, because the whole point of me even talking about select, non-select ain't for somebody to stay in the non-select. It's about how to raise your shit up. That's it. For the non-select guys to raise their shit up, and for the select guys just to know they there and to maintain it. Because all it is power. So understand that. So anyway, that's all I got for now. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and many blessings.